Okay, so now that I chased everyone who would actually watch this video away, my name is Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Of course, you guys know that. And today we're going to be fighting the Atoraru, which is the new Elder Dragon for Monster Hunter Double Cross. Now, it is an insect, but it's still technically an Elder Dragon, and also still technically an insect. However, let me explain to you guys what you just heard in the very beginning. That was from a 1978 kung fu flick known as Invincible Shaolin, where the Mantis Master was trying to tell his pupil about the intricacies of the Mantis style. I chose to do that simply because this monster is, lovingly referred to as the Mantis. And the second reason why I chose to do that is because I know a song called Mantis from the RZA off of this album Bobby Digital, and because of it, I've actually been referring to this monster personally as Bobby Digital. So, that's right, Dak is here with another weird nickname for a monster because, I don't know, I'm just weird. Anyway, let's talk about this guy really quickly, right? Okay, so he is like quote-unquote the final boss of this game. Once you fight him, you practically fought, I guess, with like say Gogmezios or maybe even a Narcoticos or whatever. But the coolest thing about him is that he is technically not just that Mantis. A lot of people speculated this guy would actually be the Equal Dragon, I believe it was called, which was in the Monster Hunter lore a weapon that humans actually made to actually fight monsters. And how it actually got the energy to do so was for it to actually slay hundreds and hundreds of monsters. Then the monsters got really pissed off. Then Fatalis went on a huge rampage and destroyed the thing. And before doing that, killed hundreds of hunters and then like melded their bodies onto its back as its own armor. Because we used to do the same to them technically. A really weird story, really weird backstory indeed. But here we are here. Personally, I'm not even sure if this is technically even a piece of technology from that time period, because that time period within the Monster Hunter lore has long since been gone, and that's why we're practically starting all over again. Monster Hunter is technologically relatively advanced, but compared to where they were back in the past, not so much. But let's get to the main nitty-gritty of this video. So we're going to be fighting Bobby Digital, and Bobby Digital is an Elder Dragon, and he is actually susceptible to that of fire. So I would totally recommend bringing fire or thunder. Fire or thunder would do great for you. Dragon, not so much, because it is a bug. If anything, it's actually quite resilient to dragon, because all bug monsters have a really good affinity for dragon, weapons, dragon elements. So that means, like, if you were to use a dragon weapon, you're not really going to do that much damage. So think about that. Bring some fire, bring some thunder, and you should be in relatively good hands. Me personally, when it comes down to weapons and weapon styles, I only have fought this guy with Brave. I probably fought this thing maybe 15 times already, but I've only fought him with the Brave Greatsword simply because the way in which his movements are and the way you have to actually navigate the, I'm going to call it the Voltron state, is, I don't really see myself doing too well with the Lance. The only time I seen one person fight this guy with the Lance was one of my first few times of fighting him, and that Lancer got no play. He got knocked and tripped and bollywopped and mopped and washed up all day. So I was like, you know what, I'm probably not going to do that. So I would recommend going here with something that's quick on your feet. Going here with a weapon that you prefer. Long sword, switch axe. Probably not the switch axe. Great swords and hammers are going to be your best bets here. I like to think, simply because of the way in which you have to fight this guy in his different states. Speaking of states, let's talk about those really quickly. So when you fight this guy, the first thing he'll pull up is, like, I want to call just a piece of rebar. All right, it's technically not rebar, it's more so like a support column, but he'll have a support column on his back, and he'll just like sling it around, throw it everywhere, just trying to hit you with it. It's basic stuff. And then he'll go into his first Voltron state. Now it's the same as the second one. The only difference is that when he stomps on the ground with his feet, the tremors actually go straight ahead. So let's say he'll slam his foot on the ground, and then the aftershock or whatever will actually stem forward from the foot. When he goes into a second state of this, the aftershock stems from the side of the foot. And truth, that's the only difference between the two, if you guys were wondering what's the difference between both states. But when he drops down to his standard, Mantis state for the second time, that's when he has the Dragonator. Okay, so when he has the Dragonator, he actually has the ability to call forth lots of Dragonators. This is the time in which you need to actually use the Flash Bomb. If I haven't recommended it before, you definitely want to bring yourself some flash bombs when you fight this guy, because anytime he wants to do something really crazy, throw a flash bomb and it'll knock him out of that animation, that attack, that whatever. So whenever you see him summoning, Dragonators from the ground, hit him with a flash bomb. Whenever you see him summoning anything from the ground, hit him with a flash bomb. Yes. So after you go from the second state here, of course, what we are doing, we're knocking down the legs. That way we can climb up the body, and we're just going to break the egg. I'm gonna call it the egg. We're gonna break the egg on his back. He has eggs either in the very front here or off to either side. For the most part, you want to break it, and once you break it, you fall to the ground. But once you break the full-on egg, he will drop all the way to the ground. You can climb through his mouth. You can mine his mouth. Well, you actually can mine the dust. If you see dust, like glittery dust anywhere, you can mine that. Really good, you know. Yeah, really good. Just just mine that stuff, okay? Really good stuff in there. You can get gold eggs. You can get its ore. You can get pure crystal. You can get all sorts of things in there. And after his mouth comes down, you can actually beat up the big egg down here. Alright, so once we beat up the big egg and you break it or whatever, that's when he reverts back to his standard mantis state. It's not very hard. I may have probably, you know, confused a couple of you guys, but trust me guys, it's pretty straightforward, honestly. Hit the toes, hit everything on the back, hit the egg from the front, and then fight the mantis till he goes back into the Voltron state. That's practically it, guys. That's practically it. But once, you know, he comes down to the mantis form for the final time, that's when he has what we lovingly refer to as the wheel of time, because he has a wheel on his back. He'll use that wheel to do a multitude of like crazy things, which you'll probably get a chance to see here. But that's when that's the tactics, okay? That's the tactics, and that's things that he can and will do. Quickly, while we have a little bit of time left, let me talk about his weapons. His weapons are insane. They all have natural purple sharpness. Granted, they don't have a lot of purple sharpness off the jump. Once you upgrade them, and you probably should run sharpness plus 1 or sharpness plus 2 to maximize that purple sharpness on his weapons. His weapons do not have any element. They do, however, have 3 slots and plus 60 defense. So 3 slots plus 6 defense, 330 attack, natural purple sharpness. Those are great weapons. All right, those are really good weapons, and his armor is insane. I was talking about his armor before we end this video. His armor has 2 skills, Mystery and Talisman Up. What these 2 skills do is, Mystery, if I'm not mistaken, it doubles the amount of points you get from a gem in the armor. So let's say you put 5 points into artillery in your armor, right? And you only have 5 points of artillery. With Mystery, you now have 10 points. It's for free. And let's say you have a +5 artillery talisman. With this Talisman Up ability, it doubles the amount of points in your talisman. So you have double points into the gem points in your armor, and you have double points for your talisman. So theoretically, with this armor, you can make any armor set you could possibly think of. Okay, it's real talk. 2 skills that do anything you want them to do. It's way better than Torso Up, kinda, in a sense. So if you want to have straight fire attack, water attack, thunder attack, and I don't know, defense plus large or something, you can totally do that with his armor. His armor is pretty nutty. But yeah, everyone, that's everything I got for you guys today. I'm pretty sure I skipped over a little bit of information, but for the most part, this is the man's right here. He's not actually a very difficult fight. He's actually a really quick fight, and a lot of people like to fight him, not because his gear and armor are so good, because they very much are, but because when you fight him, he gives you so many materials that you can actually just sell. Like, you can actually fight him, and in your box will be 3 or maybe up to 9 golden eggs for you to sell. They're just golden eggs. He even has what I'm gonna call a platinum egg, which sells for $100,000. So a lot of people like to farm him for money. I started fighting this guy and only had $80,000. Once I got finished fighting this guy, I had over $1 million. And I wasn't even selling any parts. I was just selling the eggs, okay? So, yo, if you bought that money, this is where to go. If you bought them weapons, this is where to go. If you bought that armor, this is where to go. This monster gives you everything you could ever possibly need in a Monster Hunter game, which makes him broken. But with that being said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak 908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. My name is Dak, like I said. His name is Bobby Digital. Remember that. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Don't know if it'll be another cross, but we'll see. Take care.